Hi guys, welcome to Metal and Rock Zone. It's Friday, and it's not just any Friday, it's Metallica. New album, 72 Seasons, is out today, Friday, 14th of April. So on this video, I want to review the album. I'm kind of gonna talk about what I like and what I feel is missing on this album. I will rate the songs into kind of three categories, like great, okay, and nah. And then, yeah, we'll talk about the singing, the riffing, the drumming, all the stuff that you want to know and what everybody has an opinion on, the soloing, the whole 9 yards. Then at the end of it, I'll dive a little bit into, why is Metallica the hardest band in the world to be a member of? As silly as that sounds, and why people like me do stuff for Metallica that we wouldn't do for any other bands, even if this is not my favorite band. Now, before we get into it, guys, then I would like to remind you of our social media. We have Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook. That's at Metal and Rock Zone, and you can go and follow us there. There is a lot of other content that we don't put here on YouTube. Anyway, Metallica and me. So they got me here on this one. Kill them all. I remember I went to visit a friend. I was 12 years old. It's 1985, I think. He had a big record collection, or his family, and amongst inside Culture Club and Duran Duran albums, there was this Metallica album, and I was immediately drawn to the cover. But then I put it on, and I was like, "What the fuck is this? This is not music. They're just banging the instruments and stuff like that." But that was the point of no return. Something drew me to this, and since then, and obviously, the first four albums, that one, Master, Ride the Lightning, Justice, are just masterpieces, all each in their own right somehow. And this is 72 Seasons is their 11th album, and it's actually interesting if you think about it that it's a 42-year-old band, and you wouldn't call it very effective or something like that, because a lot of these bands, they would do like an album per year, sometimes even two per year. If you look at Kiss, and the Beatles, I mean, just to name a few big bands, then they've done, one or two albums per year for the first 4 or 5 years of their career and then slowed down. But Metallica has never been in a hurry, and this is the first album in 7 years. And during this time, Megadeth has done 16 albums, in Testament 13, just to kind of compare, Now, of course, because it's a rarity that we get a Metallica album, there's been a lot of anticipation, and the whole kind of Metallica machine has been roaring, like there's been so much buzz around this. They started already last autumn, and yeah, they did all sorts of stuff around this that you don't see in general around albums, like that I'll come to later, like commercial stuff that is new. And I went yesterday to this listening party. This is the first time that I hear about something like that. It was a listening party in 2,100 cinemas around the world, where they kind of played the whole album and then some videos and stuff. And they made an announcement there. They're actually going to stream 2 live concerts from that No Repeat tour that's following up on this album. They're going to stream that into cinemas. And I can tell you guys, you should go and see that, because I was kind of surprised how enjoyable it was to see just the album being played in a cinema with, some videos and some animations, some music videos and some animations that are, I think, just made for this specific purpose. And it was better than I thought somehow. I didn't really have high expectations to this event. But let's check in on my first reaction after the cinema. So, just coming out of the cinema, we were at the pre-listening screening from Metallica, me and Michael. So, Michael, what did you think?
Um, Imagine being in your favorite sports car on a German motorway on the left-hand lane,
Okay.
full of energy, and like James said in Lexi Turner, full speed or nothing.
This album, actually, my kind of first reaction, it's better than I thought it would be. I think this album is actually gonna age better than the last two, and for sure last three. What I don't know after this is if the experience of sitting in the cinema and having something on the screen made it better than if this would have been in my headphones. So yeah, it's not every day that you see a smile like this. I don't know what the fuck I was doing. Anyway, I took it for a few more spins. I tried playing it in the car for my girlfriend. That was kind of tuned down the volume really quickly, but I put it in the headphones, and I actually took it for a run, which was brilliant. I did 20 kilometers. I'm training for a marathon, so I do a lot of long runs, and that was really cool, because it gave me a much more focused listening than than yeah, trying to get my girlfriend to listen in the car. So and I wanted to know if I would feel good about this album in the same way as I felt after the cinema thing. And the short answer is yes. But I'm gonna take you through the whys and all that stuff. So first, the cover. The cover is that yellow thing, and these are the color of kind of danger, warning somehow. And I didn't think about it beforehand, kind of before the album came, but now after seeing this in the cinema yesterday and listening to the album, it's definitely on purpose. There is a certain element of risk and danger or something in this album, in the honesty or something like that, and I think it fits well, this kind of color scheme. And I think Hetfield describes it perfectly in when he talks about 72 seasons, which is this first 18 years of our lives that form our true or false selves, and much of our adult experience is kind of reenactment or reaction to those situations and circumstances. So, and we spend most of our life as prisoners of our childhood, and this album is very much about kind of dealing with that. And this is risky stuff, like this is not like like it's not like just beer and girls, like they're talking in those lyrics about emotions, stuff like that. So I think it fits perfectly. It also, having this yellow color, comes with a certain commercial element that I think is brilliant, because obviously, now I will need to get a yellow t-shirt. You can see, actually, I did a video the other day about how much money they made off this album before it's out. Hundreds of millions of dollars. Check that out, guys. I did that 2 weeks ago. So 12 songs, 77 minutes. And I have decided to kind of give it a rating that is, as I said, great, okay, and nah. And great gets you 10 points, okay gets you 5 points, nah is 3 points. We'll get to that later. This is not a calculation YouTube channel. And the first song is called, it's the title song, 72 Seasons. And I think that song it kicks off with a very kind of familiarity somehow. There's no doubt what band this is, like it's not very adventurous, but it delivers kind of the Metallica that we know, kind of a lot of different riffs and tempo changes and stuff like that. And it's just around 8 minutes, so I don't know, it's kind of it gives you the signal, guys, you're safe. We're not going to give you Saint Anger or Lulu, and that's a statement of this song. I mean, it's a good song. I give it okay, so it's not great. Second song is Shadow Follows, and that one is kind of where I felt that they already a little bit experimented. They kind of pushed the envelope a little bit. There are some vocal harmonies and with the bridge and the chorus that are very interesting, and that song is kind of like a solid 5-minute banger, like. And I was thinking about it when I listened to it. Okay, this is following up with 72 Seasons as a starting song. This is a little bit of a brave step, and I was thinking, okay, so maybe this is the producer. The producer on this album is this guy, Greg Fiedelman, sorry, and he's worked with Slayer, Rick Rubin, the Slayer producer. He's done Slipknot and a lot of different stuff, and I have a feeling that on some parts of this album he kind of maybe pushed Metallica a little bit out of their comfort zone. But I don't know. Who am I to know? But that's just a feeling that I have. Second song, Shadow Follows. That's a great song. Third song is Screaming Suicide. That's like the first song, the 72 Seasons. It was one of the singles. It's a very kind of fast-paced song that just want to keep going. I have a feeling it's like a steamroller that just rolls. Like there's no stopping it, and there is no. They almost don't give you kind of a breather. And there's a cool guitar solo in that song. That is, Kirk is doing just kind of the Kirky stuff, but it's a bit more old school there. I think it's in 3 minutes 40 seconds or something, and that gives the song a really cool vibe. But that's kind of more of a straightforward song maybe than the second song, and I give that okay. So song number 4, Sleepwalk My Life Away, that starts off with a kind of a cool bass riff and drums, and Rob in the video where they were explaining between the songs in the listening party where the songs kind of came from, he explained that it was just him and Lars kind of jamming, and then the rest of the song was kind of built on top of that. And there's a cool thing where Kirk is kind of making this sound with the pick on the neck of the guitar in the beginning of the song, and it has a super catchy chorus. I don't like the verses too much in that song, but the chorus is super catchy, and I feel like, yeah, that's kind of they could have done that song a little bit shorter, and that or I don't know, or milk the chorus a little bit better, because the chorus is the thing in that song, and you want more of that and less of the other stuff. And I've seen a lot of people talk about this album saying that it's too long, and I think I get that feeling, and I was thinking about that in the cinema. Is it, because it's shorter to see, or it feels shorter when you see something while you're listening. So I think on the parts where it's not on, then it feels long, but on the parts where it's on, it feels short. Weird stuff, but I'll come to that when I talk about the last song. That is the longest song Metallica ever made. So song number 4, I'll put that in okay. Song number 5, You Must Burn, exclamation mark. That's kind of a Black Album feel somehow. I get this, it's super, super heavy and super simple but effective drumming, and that kind of is the line through this album, that Lars, I mean, as much as he was one of the inventors of the genre and speed metal, thrash metal drumming, I mean, he has kind of evolved into becoming kind of the king of less is more drumming. And what was interesting is that in that song, it gives me this kind of sad but true feeling where it's like just bam, and he adds though, and there are actually more and more things that I'm noticing with the drumming the more I listen to it. So he adds a lot of detail. So he uses a drum as an instrument, not just as a rhythm thing somehow. And yeah, I think on minute 340 or something like that, there is a super kind of heavy breakdown and then a kind of a grungy feel. And that's again a little bit of an experimental thing for Metallica. Not too much, it's still Metallica, but they're kind of a little bit on the boundaries. And that's, for me, a great song. Song number 6, Lux Eterna, the Eternal Light. This is a kind of the most nostalgic song, I would say, on the album. It kind of could have fitted easily on this Kill 'Em All album. And I remember when I heard it the first time, because it was one of the singles, I was like, oh, I feel sorry for Lars that he's going to have to drum this live, because this is not easy, the double kicker and super hard beat, And actually, I think Rob says it in the video in the listening party that he has a hard time. He needs to stretch before he plays that, because it's so fast and it's so consistent. And I really love the vocals in this song, in Lux Eterna. I think somehow with that, it made me realize that Hetfield just sounds better and better somehow. I saw them last summer live, and he was great, and much better than when I saw them, I don't know, 6 years ago or something. So I feel that there is something going on there that is a very positive development or evolvement, let's say. And this song for me, yeah, it's a pure kind of paying tribute to their old stuff. They even have Full Speed or Nothing, referral to Motor Breath from Kill 'Em All, and yeah, I really like that, and I would have loved it in the 80s, and I love it now in whatever it is now, 2023-ish, and it's a great song. Song number 7, that's The Crown of Barbed Wire. I don't like this song. There's something off with this song. I wanted it to end somehow, and this doesn't get into, it gives me this kind of B-side Reload era vibe somehow, that I would have skipped this off the album. They had 12 songs, they could have gone with 11. But there is a groove breakdown in after 3 minutes or something, but it's too little, too late. There is something off with this song, so this is a nah for me. 8th song is Chasing Light, and that was actually interesting because I like the intro riff there, and then they get into after like 40 seconds or something like that, 30, 40 seconds. And then it has some kind of unfamiliar way of chord sequencing. I don't know, like there's something that you don't hear often in Metallica there. But then, yeah, I don't know. the verse is cool with a nice groove, but the bridge and chorus are not really up to standard. So that's another kind of nah song for me. That was song number 8, Chasing Light. Song number 9, If Darkness Had a Sun, one of the singles from the album as well. That one, uh, James Hetfield explained in that listening party that he had the lyrics on his phone for a long time, but he never had a song to fit it with. And the lyrics are kind of cool because, you know, I think it's in the chorus is something like, if darkness had a son, here I am, temptation is his father. And he's talking about the temptation of being a rock star, you know, that, and I think the temptation of being a rock star is not that extra donut that is my temptation. It's something far greater and more exotic. I was skeptic on this song with this in the beginning. It's like this temptation, and I remember I played it at home and my girlfriend was like, "Why are they saying this?" And now I understand. It's an anthem. I think fans will go nuts when this is live. You know, they'll be like, "Temptation," and I think this song is kind of straight out of their wheelhouse. You know, there's nothing, uh, nothing really new here, but it's just more of the good stuff that we like with this band somehow. And yeah, rhythmic changes and the riff is played in different ways, and then, you know, it sits somewhere. This song sits somewhere between kind of Load, Black Album vibe for me. And the lyrics are cool, and I think in general on this album the lyrics add something extra now. I don't feel that that's always been the case when I've been listening to Metallica, that the lyrics have been something, but I feel that a little bit with this album. And it's interesting that in some way these guys are kind of airing their dirty laundry in public. You know, they're putting it into the lyrics, they're putting it into the music, and that's very brave, I think, because yeah, you could see it on them, and you can see it when they are talking about their music and their band. They take this seriously. It's not like they're just sitting back and chilling and living from the royalties. You know, it matters to them what they put out there. And James said it in that movie or that listening party that, yeah, this vulnerability that he can transmit through Metallica is good for him. This is a 60-year-old guy that's seen it all, you know, but he's still there being raw and him, you know. Bit nervous, bit fragile. I mean, that's amazing, actually. This song could have been like a minute shorter, and that would have been fine. So I'm gonna put that in the okay category. 10th song is Too Far Gone. That's kind of a bit of a Kill 'Em All vibe in the intro riff, and then it goes into a chorus that has kind of this Thin Lizzy feeling somehow. And you really need to hear it. It's after like 1 minute 10 seconds, 1 minute 15 seconds. You need to check that out. And that's again a bit of a experimentation, but just with how do you say, nostalgic fallback to old days of rock and roll, you know, or metal. And it gives the song a character that I think it would otherwise have lacked a little bit. And I would have wanted more of the Thin Lizzy stuff there. And I feel that overall on this album, they could milk a few parts of this a little bit more, and tone down maybe some other parts, obviously, or the album would have been 100 minutes. But and then yeah, they have also in this, I think it's like a second minute half or 2.5 minutes, that is a super cool harmonized guitar part, which kind of gives you that Master of Puppets vibe from that era, you know. And I was a little bit on the fence with this song, but I'm gonna put that in the great category. So because it makes me want stuff that is in there. I want more of this stuff, you know. 11th song is Room of Mirrors. That's a very kind of a fast-paced main riff, and not somehow completely Metallica, but still them. I don't know. There is something there also where they're doing something that I haven't picked up on their previous stuff, and they have a nice kind of. I think it's in the it's in the vocals there that they do some really interesting stuff, and I think with a dirtier sound, this song could easily have made it to Kill 'Em All. And yeah, all the harmonies around the 3 minute 30 mark or something are really cool. and it could have been longer actually. That's weird, because that's the kind of song that you want more of. Um, and I think on the album in general, the sound and all that, the mix is great. And what I like about most of these songs, I feel that they allow whatever to shine, what needs to shine in each song, whether it's the singing, the bass, or whatever. But you hear the whole band. This is more of a holistic album, I think, than sometimes before. And the outro to that Room of Mirrors alone is a goosebump thing. I think the last 50 seconds, 1 minute or something. So check that out. I'm gonna put that in the great category. Now the last song is Inamorata. That's song number 12. That's the longest song that Metallica has ever made. I was actually surprised about that. And it's 11 minutes and 10 seconds. And now, probably my weirdest comment, that this, on an album that sometimes can feel too long, this song doesn't feel like 11 minutes and 10 seconds. It's weird. Uh, and it slows things down a little bit, this song, and has some very interesting riffing that kind of gives me a bit of a Black Sabbath vibe. You can check in on minute 4:20 or something for that part, and uh, and then has this kind of doom sludge breakdown on after 5 minutes 20 seconds or something, where actually Rob plays the bass and there's just um, a hi-hat or whatever it's called, yeah, hi-hat under it, and and he said in that interview or between the songs that he plays every note from his heart, and you can kind of feel it. And and he actually mentioned Geezer Butler from Black Sabbath as one of the kind of the ideas that he had in his head when he was playing this. And and what I realized when I was listening to this, that Rob is actually more of part of this band now, I think, than ever before. And they say that also, that they wanted to make this as a band. This was a band album, not just James and Lars banging it out together somewhere in a studio. And but in this song, in this Inamorata, I kind of realized what is missing on this album, because in this they have that breakdown, they have those changes, they have those little bit more of an emotional fluctuation somehow, and uh, and I think that would have been great for some of those songs, the longer songs, to have some of that more kind of clean stuff that we know from, Master of Puppets and from Justice for All and stuff like that. Um, and It's always been there, and I think that's actually what was the X factor of Metallica, and it's a little bit missing on this album, but they bring it late in this song. Um, for me, this song, somehow the downside of it is a little bit, I don't fully like the lyrics there, but or how they sit on the song, but it's a minor thing. Um, who am I to tell Hetfield what and how to sing? Um, and yeah, this is one of those great songs on the album. So let's check out the summary. So I have 6 great songs, that means 60 points. And I have 4 okay songs, that means 20 points. And I have 2 nah songs, that's 6 points in total. So that gives me 86 points, which is actually why I wanted to give this album 8.5. So I wanted to kind of verify my evaluation of each individual song, to add it up to see if it matched with what I felt about the album. And I felt this was an 8.5. The best songs are Too Far Gone, Room of Mirrors, Lux Eterna, and In Morata, in my mind. These are songs that you need to check out. This album sits somewhere kind of between, I don't know, hovering around the Black Album and before. The Black Album, I hated. I fucking hated that album, but it grew on me, and I was angry when it came. And I think this is one of those albums that grows. Um, The pros of this album is that when they kind of push the envelope and are a little bit adventurous, it's great. It's really, really cool stuff. And they do it in a very subtle, nice way. Um, of course, the playing and the mix and the sound, this is just genius. It's amazing, and the singing is great. His voice is amazing. It's somehow gives more space to everyone in the band. So it feels more that it's not just endless guitar sound or endless drum sound. It's better mixed somehow, or more balanced somehow, uh, and uh, and it's familiar and safe, but still powerful, and uh, and it's very honest. extremely honest, and everything around this is honest. And I urge you guys, check out some of the interviews with the band around this. They have this newsletter called So What, and they have been posting interviews there from the members talking about the creative process of this album. And it's so fascinating to see how hard it is actually for these guys to get this stuff done, and how much goes into it, and how insecure they are, like, which is comforting for people like us that think we are the only insecure people in the world, but we're not. The cons of the album is that at some areas or some songs it feels too long. But yeah, weirdly not in the longest song. And I feel, yeah, I'm missing a little bit that they kind of milk those great parts a little bit more, because I think that they have something there that they could have kind of taken more out of somehow. And yeah, I'm missing those kind of breakdowns, clean guitars, and this stuff that kind of was the X factor of Metallica of old. Now, tell me what you think about this album. If you bought it, if you're gonna go and see them live, I'm always curious to hear. And what do you think is missing, if something? Another thing that I mentioned in the beginning, I want to talk about a little bit, was why do we, or I at least, do stuff for Metallica that I wouldn't do for any other band? And I think it's because of this honesty. I see them as humans. I see, even if they're really good at selling me a lot of stuff that I might not even need. I mean, I bought tickets to their concert. I'm going to drive 7 hours to Germany and spent money on Airbnb and bought the concert tickets and bought the vinyl on pre-order. I will get the t-shirts. I went to the listening party. I'm going to go to in August when they stream that concert, So I'm just, they can get hundreds of dollars from me, But I do it with pleasure because I feel I'm giving it to good people. And takes me back to that video that I told you about before that I did about the money. And yeah, as I said, I mean, it's not even my favorite band, but they just somehow have this vibe, you want them to feel good, and if that means giving them my money, then I'll give them my money. So I also think that not many bands in this age, these are guys around 60, that they're capable of delivering an album like this. I mean, the last AC/DC album was great. The Megadeth album, last one, was really good. But apart from that, I don't think that there's a lot of those bands from this kind of time that is delivering something like this. I'm happy to hear if you know of something. And I think it kind of, what I've kind of take away from this is that I think Metallica is one of the toughest band in the world to be in, because on one hand we want something that they gave us a long time ago. We want this stuff, we want the puppet stuff, we want the Justice stuff, but when they deliver that, we say, oh, you're not being original, you're not being creative. And then when they're creative and do Saint Anger and do Lulu, we hate them, like. So it's a really tricky thing, and obviously they are fully aware of that. So it's bizarre to say that it must be hard to be a billionaire in a mega heavy metal band, but I think it must be, because we are very critical of them, and we want something, but when they deliver it, we're unhappy with it. So yeah, I don't think it's easy for them to do it, and I think that's why it takes them so many years sometimes to kind of just find that feeling or that vibe. So yeah, I'm gonna go see them live. I will go and see them forever, every time that I can. Tell me what you think, guys. I'm always curious to hear people's opinions. And share this, like it, comment, whatever. Have a great time, or have a great time. Enjoy listening to this album.